We often hear the phrase, the chosen ones, as if it were a myth or a legend. But what if I told you that the chosen ones are not born that way? They become chosen. They are shaped by a series of challenges that most people are not even aware of. These challenges are not physical, not visible, or measurable. They are spiritual, mental, and emotional trials, and they are among the most difficult anyone can face. Few people make it through these tests, and even fewer succeed in overcoming them. But those who do come out the other side completely transformed. Life is a test in itself, but not everyone faces the same challenges. There are different levels, and the deeper you go, the more intense the obstacles become. The chosen ones are those who face the most challenging tests, not because they want to, but because they have no other choice. They feel a deep calling, an uncontrollable urge that tells them, you have to go through this. There is no glamour to it, and these tests will push you to the limit, making you question everything, even who you believe you are. But if you can endure them, you will come out the other side transformed. If this message has touched you in some way, or awakened something within you, why not share your thoughts in the comments? We would love to hear how you see this journey of awakening and surrender. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, this is the perfect time to join us. Subscribe now to continue exploring deep and transformative topics that can make a difference in your journey. We are here to grow together. The first test comes when you are forced to face the truth of who you really are. We spend so much time building an image of ourselves, a mask that we show the world. We define ourselves by our jobs, relationships, and possessions. But this first test dismantles all of that, forcing you to look in the mirror and see your essence, without masks. This moment is frightening for most, as if you are staring into an abyss. Who are you when you are not relying on what the external world defines? Who are you when everything you believed yourself to be is taken away? Many people cannot handle this initial test and retreat into the comfort of their illusions. But the chosen ones, those destined for something greater, do not retreat. They stand before the mirror, staring into the abyss, and ask themselves the most difficult question of all. Who am I really? Have you ever questioned this deeply? Not as a passing thought, but as a burning question that will not go away until you find the answer? The second test is isolation. We live surrounded by noise, work, social media, friends, family. To pass this test, you have to be willing to be alone. Not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally. You have to sit with yourself in silence and face your own thoughts, fears, and desires. In this silence, a new voice begins to emerge. Your inner voice. It has always been there, but it has been drowned out by the noise of the world around you. This is your true essence calling out to you. Can you hear it? Many people fear silence because they don't want to face what they might find. But the chosen ones embrace it, because they know that in silence they find answers. When the chosen ones begin to embrace this silence, they discover something surprising. They are not truly alone. They realize that there is a deeper connection to something greater, be it the universe, a divine force, or the energy that unites everything and everyone. In that moment, they understand that isolation is not abandonment, but an opportunity to reconnect with what truly matters. This understanding strengthens their faith, trust, and purpose. You may face a challenge that seems to have been overcome, but it returns in a different form. This happens because growth is a continuous process, and each lesson prepares you for something even greater. The chosen ones understand that true learning lies in repetition, improvement, and acceptance that evolution is infinite. The chosen ones realize that their journey is not just about them. The challenges they face and the transformations they achieve are not for selfish purposes. They are tools to help others, inspire change, and bring more light to the world. This sense of responsibility gives meaning to trials and motivates them to continue, even when the path seems impossible. The hardest tests are not those that challenge the body, but those that test the soul. The third test is perhaps the most challenging for many people, the test of detachment. We are taught to cling to expectations, hurts, achievements, and even disappointments. But this clinging acts like a weight on our shoulders, weighing us down. To overcome this challenge, you must be willing to let go. You must stop clinging to outcomes, to people, and even to things. This does not mean stopping caring, but learning not to depend on anything too much. You must trust that whatever is meant for you will find its way, and whatever is not meant for you will naturally fall away. Letting go is not a weakness. It is a demonstration of immense strength. However, letting go does not happen all at once. It is an ongoing process. You have to remind yourself repeatedly to let go, to trust the natural flow of life. And just when you think you have learned your lesson, life presents something new that challenges your ability to let go. In these moments, the big question arises, can I let go of even this much? How much are you willing to let go in order to achieve true freedom? If you've passed the first 3 tests, you've already begun your transformation, but the path ahead becomes even more challenging. The 4th test is known as the dark night of the soul, a time that has broken even the strongest souls. This is the test where everything you thought you knew, everything you believed in, is completely shaken. It's as if the universe itself is putting you to the test, asking, how much darkness can you endure before you find your light? In the dark night of the soul, you are thrown into a state of profound inner turmoil. It feels like the world around you is falling apart. Relationships end, careers lose meaning, and your purpose seems to disappear. You are left with questions like, why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? Will I ever overcome it? But here's the truth. The darkness is not here to destroy you, but to purify you. It is an essential process in your spiritual evolution. In your darkest moments, you find the brightest light within, but only if you have the courage to endure. Most people, when faced with this test, fall into despair. They give up, lose hope, and sink into darkness. But the chosen ones are different. They do not give in to despair, nor do they let the flame of hope go out. They understand that darkness is fleeting, a temporary phase that cleanses away what does not belong to their true essence. Even without seeing the path ahead, they continue moving forward with the confidence that there is a light waiting for them at the end of the tunnel. Now, let me ask you, how do you react when everything seems to be falling apart? Do you panic? Do you desperately try to hold on to the pieces of your life that are falling apart, trying to keep them intact? Or do you trust the process, allowing what needs to fall, and accepting that what should stay will stay? It's important to understand that the dark night of the soul is not just a test of endurance, but also an opportunity to reevaluate everything. During this time, you have the chance to free yourself from limiting beliefs and patterns that no longer serve your purpose. The void it creates can feel scary, but it's also a fertile space to plant new seeds of growth, rooted in your true essence. Many discover that, as they go through this phase, a sense of gratitude emerges. Even in the face of so much suffering, the chosen ones realize the value of each moment, each pain, and each challenge. It is in this recognition that a renewed strength emerges, an energy that does not come from the ego, but from a deep connection with something greater than themselves. The dark night of the soul teaches an essential lesson. The inner light never goes out, even in the darkest moments. This light may be hidden, suffocated by fears and doubts, but it never ceases to exist. Recognizing this is what allows the chosen ones to move forward, not only surviving, but transforming themselves into beings capable of bringing hope and strength to others who are still on the path. The 5th test is the test of faith. But we're not talking about faith in the religious sense, but rather a deep trust in yourself, the universe, and life itself. During the dark night of the soul, you need to believe that the darkness is temporary, that there is a greater purpose at work, even if you can't see it. This is one of the most challenging tests, because it requires you to trust in the unseen, to accept that everything happens for a reason, even when that reason isn't clear to you. Faith, however, doesn't mean ignoring your pain or pretending that everything is okay. Faith is acknowledging the pain, feeling it fully, but still choosing to believe that there is a purpose in it. It's trusting that the universe is not against you, but rather working for you, even when it feels like everything is falling apart. And in the midst of the darkness, that faith will be tested again and again. You will be tempted to give up, to believe that the darkness is all there is. But the chosen ones persevere. They keep their faith even when all seems lost. when every step forward seems to only take them deeper into the darkness. They keep going, trusting in the unseen, in the unknown, believing that no matter how bad the moment may be, there is something greater guiding them. Now tell me, how strong is your faith? Can you hold on to it even when everything seems to be falling apart? Are you able to trust in what you cannot see, even when the path ahead is uncertain? When you've faced the darkness long enough, struggling with your doubts, fears, and uncertainties, you eventually reach a turning point. The sixth test, the test of surrender. If you've made it this far, you've already proven your strength, resilience, and ability to endure deep pain and overwhelming uncertainty. But this test isn't about physical or mental strength. It's about letting go of control. It's about trusting the flow of life and accepting that there are forces far greater than your own will. For many, this is the most difficult test. We humans thrive on the feeling of control. We plan, organize, strategize, and try to shape our lives to our own desires. But life rarely follows our plans. It often takes us on unexpected paths, some painful, some joyful, and many completely mysterious. The chosen ones understand that control is an illusion. They recognize that there is a greater intelligence at work, a force that knows far more than the limited human mind could ever comprehend. Surrender, however, does not mean giving up or stopping caring. It does not mean abandoning your efforts. It is about letting go of resistance, stopping fighting the natural flow of life. Imagine you are swimming in a river. If you try to swim against the current, you will end up exhausted and stuck in the same place. But if you decide to go with the flow, you will allow it to take you where you need to be. True surrender requires trust. Trusting that even in moments when everything seems chaotic and out of control, life is moving in the right direction. It means believing that the difficulties you face have a greater purpose, and that, in the end, you will be stronger, wiser, and more connected to your essence. During the test of surrender, you learn that resisting takes energy that could be used to move forward. The act of letting go does not mean that you are being passive, but that you are aligning your will with the natural rhythm of life. It is at this moment that the chosen ones experience a kind of freedom that can only be achieved by trusting the unknown. When you surrender to the flow, you discover that life has surprising ways of resolving situations and providing solutions that you never imagined. It's as if invisible doors open, bringing clarity and opportunities. This trust in something greater allows you to live with less fear and more openness to what life has to offer. If you surrender to the flow of the river, it will effortlessly carry you to where you need to be. This is the essence of surrendering to life. In this test, you may be called to let go of more than your plans. You may have to let go of your identity, your ego, and even the very idea of who you believe yourself to be. You may be challenged to let go of desires, attachments, and even dreams. This kind of surrender doesn't happen overnight. It's a process that requires trust in yourself, in life, and in the larger plan that's unfolding, even if it's not visible at the moment. Think about it. How much of your time do you spend trying to control everything? How often do you resist circumstances, wishing they were different? What if you simply stopped resisting? What would happen if you trusted that everything was unfolding exactly as it should? The test of surrender is not a sign of weakness, but of strength. It is the strength to let go, to trust in the unknown. Many fail this test because they see surrender as a loss, as if they were giving up. But the chosen ones understand that surrender is not the end, but a new beginning. It is the moment when you align yourself with the flow of life, when you stop fighting and begin to allow life to lead you. Surrender does not mean giving up your power. On the contrary, it means aligning yourself with a much greater power, the infinite intelligence of the universe, which knows exactly what you need and when you need it. To access this power, you must let go of the illusion of control. So I ask you, can you surrender? Can you let go of your desire to control everything and trust that life knows what it is doing, even when you don't? This is the test that separates the chosen from the rest. It's the test that requires you to let go of the steering wheel and allow life to take you where you need to go. And here's the paradox. When you surrender, you gain more control, but not the kind you imagined. It's not the control that comes from manipulating situations or forcing outcomes. It's the control that comes from being in tune with the flow of the universe, from being in harmony with life. When you reach this state of surrender, everything flows naturally. Situations resolve themselves with ease, and you realize that you are exactly where you are supposed to be at the right time. But this level of surrender requires courage, faith, and a willingness to step into the unknown without having all the answers. Are you ready for this? Are you ready to trust in the mystery of life and trust that you will be guided, even when you can't see the way? True surrender is not an act of weakness, but a demonstration of wisdom. It is recognizing that life is much bigger than our individual desires. By letting go of the need to control everything, you discover that it is often in the space of uncertainty that the greatest transformations happen. Life has a unique way of leading you to the places and experiences that truly matter. Surrendering does not mean giving up on fighting for your dreams, but trusting that the path to them may be different from what you planned. It means accepting that the universe knows a more fluid and often surprising path. The chosen ones learn to see life's detours not as obstacles, but as lessons and opportunities for growth. When you align with the flow of life, your perception changes. Fear of the unknown diminishes, and in its place emerges a deep sense of peace and purpose. You begin to understand that even in the most difficult moments, there is a greater force working on your behalf. Surrender to the flow and allow that force to guide you to something even more meaningful than you imagined. Look at the path ahead of you. It leads to the test of surrender, one of the last that the chosen ones must face. Only those who can truly let go, who can surrender to the flow of life, will overcome this challenge. And for those who can, life holds more than they could ever imagine. If you've made it this far, you've already passed the test of surrender. You're part of the small group that has faced and overcome the most intense trials. However, there's still one last challenge, and it's the most profound of all, the test of awakening. This is the moment when you finally understand your purpose. It's when the greater truth that has always guided you becomes clear. This final test is not about strength or endurance. It is about seeing. It is the moment when the veil of illusion is lifted and you begin to see the world and yourself as they truly are. It is when you awaken to the purpose of your journey, understanding why all the pain, uncertainty, and darkness you have endured. The chosen ones are not special because they were set apart from others. They are chosen because they made the choice to awaken. They chose to see the truth, even when it was uncomfortable or challenged their deepest beliefs. The truth they reach is transformative. You are not separate from life. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are life itself expressing itself in a unique way through your existence. This final test reveals that all your struggles, all your trials, served a greater purpose. They were shaping you, removing illusions, undoing false identities and egoic desires, so that you could see the deeper reality. And that reality is simple. You are here because life itself wanted to experience itself through you. Your purpose is not something lost that you need to seek. It is something that you are already living in every moment, every day. The final test invites you to awaken to this truth. It asks you to see that you are not separate from the universe, but that you are an essential part of it. And when that awakening happens, everything changes. You no longer feel the need to control because you understand that life is already unfolding in perfect ways. The test of awakening is not an end, but the beginning of a new outlook on life. When you realize that everything you have faced was part of a greater plan, a deep gratitude arises. Every obstacle, every tear, and every doubt has prepared you for this moment. Awakening is not just about seeing the truth. It is about embracing it and allowing it to transform everything you are. When you awaken, you begin to live in harmony with the natural flow of the universe. Outside pressures no longer weigh as heavily, because you realize that you are exactly where you need to be. Awakening brings freedom. Not the freedom to do whatever you want, but the freedom to be fully who you are without the constraints of fear or expectations. This journey teaches you that life is not something that happens to you, but something that happens through you. Every experience, good or challenging, is an opportunity for the universe to express itself and grow. Awakening invites you to live with purpose, knowing that you are an irreplaceable piece in the great puzzle of existence. You no longer feel the need to search for a purpose, because you realize that it lies in simply existing, experiencing, and expressing life in the way that is most authentic to you. But this awakening does not mark the end of the journey. It is just the beginning of something new. When you pass this final test, you are no longer bound by the limitations of your ego or the chains of fear. You become free. Free to live with purpose, with meaning, with joy. Free to create, love, and explore without the burden of doubt or fear. This is the gift of the final test. This is the reward for facing the most difficult trials that only the chosen can endure. And now I ask you, are you ready to awaken? Are you ready to see the truth about who you are and why you are here? The journey is not easy. The tests are not simple. But if you have the courage to face them, if you can push through the darkness, the uncertainty, and the pain, what awaits you on the other side is beyond anything you could ever imagine. This is the path of the chosen. It is not a path for the faint of heart. It is for those who are willing to face the deepest challenges, the most demanding tests, and emerge transformed, awakened, and free. And now I ask you, are you one of the chosen? Being one of the chosen means being willing to embrace both the light and the darkness within yourself. It is understanding that each experience, no matter how challenging it may seem, serves to shape your essence and bring you closer to your true self. The chosen do not seek perfection, but authenticity, living each day as an opportunity to grow and learn. This awakening is not just a personal victory. It is a calling to impact the world. When you awaken, you become a source of inspiration and strength for others. Your journey becomes a living example of resilience and truth. The chosen ones not only free themselves, they also help open doors for others to discover their own freedom. Being a chosen one is not about reaching a final destination, but about embracing the journey as a whole. It is about living with awareness, gratitude, and courage. Every step, every decision becomes a part of the greater purpose you are here to fulfill. The freedom you find is not just for you. It is for you to spread around you, lighting the way for those who are still searching. We have reached the end of this reflection, but the journey continues. And here on the channel, we want to be part of your awakening, always bringing content that inspires, challenges, and enlightens. So, if you felt that these words brought a new perspective to your life, subscribe now and leave your comment. What resonated with you most in this video? Your voice is part of this exchange, and together we can create a space for learning and evolution. Be sure to share this video with anyone you believe needs to hear this message. Let's spread this light